Stardew Valley's version 1.3 multiplayer mode update is finally here in the form of a beta, and anyone with the PC version of the game can opt in to help test it out. Seeing as my girlfriend and I grew up on Harvest Moon and have been complaining about wanting to play a multiplayer Harvest Moon together since what feels like the beginning of time, we jumped on its spiritual successors the second she got in from school earlier this week. If you're watching this video and haven't heard of Stardew Valley or the Harvest Moon series, they're farming as well as dating simulation games. Most of them are extremely freeform, and there are probably about 1 million ways you could go about playing them, but the ideal is to build your farm up as big as you can, rake in the profits, and start a family. Stardew Valley's creation itself was inspired by Harvest Moon, and when it was published in early 2016, it succeeded in remedying a lot of the problems that the latter games had and still do. A little over 2 years later, it's aiming for even greater heights with multiplayer integration. So now that we've got that introduction out of the way, let's get right into talking about that. To initiate multiplayer mode, you select a new button on the main menu labeled Co-op. From there, you can either host a farm yourself or join a friend who's already hosting. It's set up so that you can view your Steam friends list to see who's welcoming friends and join them straight away. But if you're not on each other's friends lists, you can always ask them to send you a session-exclusive code that will allow you to join too. There are also some settings that the host can tweak at the start of the game to customize your co-op experience. First and foremost, you can decide how many players you'd like to join you by inputting the number of cabins you want built on your farm. 4 players is the limit per farm, so you can choose up to 3. If you happen to select too few and change your mind later, you can always visit Robin, the in-game carpenter, to have her build more, and they're dirt cheap, so there's no need to stress about it if you're not sure. Next, you can decide what you prefer the positioning of these cabins to be like. The nearby layout style places all of the cabins cozy up to the main farmhouse, whereas Separate places them far apart for some more breathing room. I figure these options are in place not just for aesthetics, but also to accommodate for different playstyles. Some players would probably rather work together, whereas others might like to compete to see who can make the most progress the fastest. Last but not least, there's the profit margin. When you're playing with friends, you don't have individual wallets. All of your income is shared and managed by every player as a collective. As such, games with 4 players might earn a ridiculous quantity of revenue and progress at a rate that just isn't challenging, or fun by proxy. To accommodate for this, you're able to decrease it by set percentages. Just like you'd figure, if you're the host of the game, then you're the primary farm owner. If you're playing on a farm that your friend is hosting, then you're classified as a farmhand. One of the only differences my girlfriend and I have noticed between the farm owner and the farmhand is that the farm owner will see or appear in certain plot-related cutscenes that the farmhand doesn't. Some examples of this are the introduction and the cat or dog adoption cutscenes, which farmhands don't get to watch at all, and the community center tour, which farmhands can watch but don't have a role in. Aside from that, farmhands can do pretty much anything the farm owner can. So the person playing as the farm owner isn't almighty by any means. The only other thing they can do that the farmhands can't is initiate a full-scale pause of the game, which had to be implemented because, in co-op, time still progresses even with the menu open, probably as a failsafe to ensure everybody's clocks are always synced. Progression-related events like sleeping also make a point to require every player's input. Each character needs to be in bed for the next day to begin. And even though the farm, money, and some cutscenes are shared, your inventories, skills, and NPC relationships aren't. So there won't ever be any kind of power imbalance to worry about while you're deciding who will be the host versus a farmhand. As far as communicating with your fellow farmers while you play goes, there's a built-in chat client that you can make use of with cute emoticons included. There aren't any limitations on it either. You can always send messages to one another regardless of whether or not you're all in the same area. If it's possible though, I'd highly recommend playing in the same space or using voice chat. Aside from the obvious perk of it being less time-consuming to speak and play at the same time than have to stop playing to relay information through text, it's super fun to scream to one another while you're being assaulted by bugs in the mines, or quickly divvy out the chores on the first day of the season while you're pretty much already doing them. And yes, you can give gifts to each other, awkwardly dance together at the Flower Dance Festival, and even get married. That's right, being Facebook official is out and being Stardew Valley official is in. Everybody better get on it. One more thing that's unique to multiplayer and worth mentioning is that you'll receive notifications when another player does something significant, like donate a relic to the museum, buy a bigger bag, or, get caught rooting through someone's garbage. Whoops, that was me. Embarrassing trash-related tendencies aside, my opinion is that Stardew Valley's multiplayer mode is an awesome time, even in beta. I know I mentioned that playstyles will differ, and it's super cool that the game design accommodates for that, but I think that the satisfaction of working towards a long-term goal is made doubly sweet by the ability to use teamwork. So even if you intend to play more competitively, definitely give playing cooperatively a try sometime too, especially if it's with someone you love. That being said, if you haven't bought Stardew Valley yet and think you might want to, it's accessible on a lot of different consoles, but like I said at the beginning of the video, the PC version is the only one that you'll be able to test the beta of version 1.3 with, and that's available on Steam for $14.99. Just be sure to check the developer blog for instructions on how to download the patch, because it's not an automatic update. Version 1.3's biggest highlight is undoubtedly the option to play with friends, but there's also new content for the single-player campaign. There's just no official changelog available to the public yet. Concerned Ape said he's going to put one out after the beta testing. Because I've noticed some stuff myself though, I thought a fun way to end the video off would be to make a very short list of my own. The wizard has his own special stationery now. You can craft signs. Anything you have in your inventory is viable to use as an image for it. There are plants you can buy at festivals that change along with the season, kind of like some of the decorations around town do. And my personal favorite, the garden pot. This is an item and crafting recipe that Evelyn will give to you after you build a greenhouse. When placed inside, it allows you to grow any crop indoors regardless of the season. So basically, they're craftable extra greenhouse slots. So very cool additions so far. I'm beyond excited to see and experience the rest. The link to that developer blog I mentioned, the official Stardew Valley website, as well as its listing on Steam are all in the description below. So don't hesitate to jump in, experience, and bug test it with us. As always, thanks for watching. All of my own links are in the description too, and if you liked this video, you can subscribe on your way out to see more like it in the future. Thanks again, and see you next time!